After contrasts, there's time for working with tones, and good news is that I keep this process very simple. Many people create like 5 adjustment layers, try to play with it. No, this is not the way you want to work. You have to have a plan of colors before that. You have to know where your tones are going, like shadows and highlights. That's how you plan your tone. So shadows are usually darker, maybe they're in colder tones. So you should know that the idea is to go with the blue colors for the shadows, maybe red colors, maybe magentas, maybe green. You have to see the image, what suits for the image. And then for highlights, the work is a little more easier because more likely you will go with opposite color that you applied for shadows. So let's start with this image. I'm going to create 2 adjustment layers once again, and that will be color balance. So first I'm going to call as the shadows, and this time blending mode will not be luminosity or normal, but once again we don't want to affect this time contrasts. Before we didn't want to affect the colors, now we don't want to affect the contrasts, so no lights, just a color. Blending mode into color, and I'm going to duplicate this, and the other layer will be for highlights. Okay, let's put this to the group. Control or Command G after selecting of these 2, and I'm going to call this tones. That will be our tones, and you can do the selection for shadows and highlights using color range the same as before. From my own experience for studio images, for for fashion strong images, that will be good. But I want to show you other technique that sometimes works better for images that are rather soft, and that will be defining shadows and highlights through the image and then apply image. More likely the settings will be exactly the same as they are, as a layer will be merged, because it's just taking information from all the layers and defines the shadows or highlights. Just half, not precise, but like it defines it quite well and soft. And here's the little box. It creates your mask. So if the box will not be checked as an inverted, it will be highlights. If inverted, it will be shadows. So then hit OK. I have shadows defined, and that's how it looks like. As you can see, it's softened than before. I'm going to press Control or Command and hit on this layer mask to make selection, and Command or Control and I to invert this into a new layer. Okay, so we have our 2 masks prepared for our toning. And I'm going to start now from shadows. And we could work with midtones because we already defined our shadows, but for even better effect, I will go with shadows, and here I have defined shadows. So I'm sure that the color I'm going to apply only will be applied into the areas where the shadows exist. So I'm going with the blue color. I feel it should be really called here. The skin tones are always in the tones that are like orangey, no matter what the color, but the tones will always be orangey. So you can be sure that the background, if it will be into blue tones, will look good with the skin tones. Maybe around this. I don't want to go too far really, because this image is beautiful and natural, so I don't want to go far with this. And also I darkened the lips a little because it's a little bit in shadows, and cheekbones, so I would go a little bit with reds or magentas, but not too much. Just let's have a look how both of this looks like. Magentas over here looks really interesting in getting into this tiny purples, how with reds I don't really feel like magentas will be good, or actually it's not really that bad. So you could go with 1 point for magenta. You can try with a little bit more blue. The effect is really strong right now. Like it could be a little overdone, so I would just go down with opacity because I like the color, but I'm not sure about strength of it. And now I feel it's there. It's in the place I want, 70%. The shadows exactly as I wanted it to. It could be just blue if you think it would be better. And then let's go to highlights. And I'm choosing highlights this time. And for highlights, I added a lot of blue. So this time, yellows, quite much, around 9. And also the cyans, just to not make this too yellowish. It really nicely breaks down our highlights into really good and strong color without making it look artificial. Maybe around 7 for each, and that looks the way I truly like. As you can see, it was kind of red before, and now we have a nice and natural colors. We could play a little bit more just to find the perfect number for us. I will go with 8 over here, and that would be it if it's about the tones. Very simple, not complicated process as you could think. I keep it simple. I know where I want to go. I know how the image looks good, so I work with these colors that I already have. And of course you can try to work a little bit more with selective color, for example. Also blending mode, changing into color to define the reds. We have a lot of reds, so like if you feel you could fix this a little bit, you want to set the tones more, you can of course go with it. That would be a little too much maybe, but this gives you opportunity. I love to do my work after in selective color if I want to fix some tones, but it would be rather optional. I just wanted to show you how I work with colors after toning a little bit to adjust it even better. So this is before toning, this is after, and we're heading towards final steps. Let me know what you think of this way of working. I believe it's easy. I believe it's super powerful. To me, color balance is really most powerful about colors in Photoshop. I love to work with this. There's many adjustment layers that don't give you natural results. Like I believe gradient maps give you sort of artificial look, artificial colors, so I don't use them at all.